Hey, welcome back to Sodatime Restoration. We're back on the 56, getting ready to do the selection door. And obviously if you see these, that means we're going back just like the factory did it. I took them off the machine. I think these were the originals. We're trying to save them. They're in pretty decent shape for originals. At the present time, if we could get replacements, I would, but I had not found any. So we're going to try to save those. Give me a little bit of time here. I'm going to grab a couple other tools and we're going to get this thing back together and we'll get it mounted on the machine again. Hey, welcome back. We've got the main panel that we will be putting together, the selection door. One of the first things you got to do, make sure you do it first, because once you get that back side put together, you won't be able to get your handle on. So door handle needs to go on first. You don't want these to come loose. If they come loose, you got to take this thing all the way apart. Now you're ready to put, there's a little foam insert that you will have that'll go in next. And it'll go in just like so. Boy, talk about a pristine fit there, I tell you. Your next item, your hinge side. Okay, let's get the selection door mounted on there. Get a rag here at the bottom. You usually start at the top. Place that in the bottom there. Open your hinge there. Move it right up there and see if you can get that first threads in there. That's always the trick. Take it real easy on this first one. Right now I only got the 3 screws in. And we do clear. We're a little tight. It needs to be moved out. Look there. Right where we want it. Sometimes moving that out just a little bit makes a big difference. You want that to fit fairly flush. Feels like it's fitting pretty good. Pretty good, pretty good. Tighten them down now. We got to get one more screw in the bottom there. Ah, man, that looks good. That is looking good. All right, I've got the coin door out. We're doing 1500 on the face of it, just the face of it only. You know me, I gotta buff everything. It's never done until it's buffed. And so 1500, I've kind of done one shot on it right now. We'll give it one more pass. Every step that you do on sanding saves you on buffing. So 3000, it's 3M paper I'm using if anybody's wanting to know. 3M 3000, it's a kind of a foam pad. I do put a little bit of water on, not a whole lot, just to kind of keep it wet. I'm not trying to float it by no means. That should be enough. You can just tell that actually using that 3000, it actually starts bringing a little bit of gloss back. Nothing like what a buffer is going to get ready to do. So let's get the buffer out. We'll be using Vengeance tonight. We'll start out with that third step. Be using a wool pad. Be running about 22 to 2300 on the RPM. I put it on pretty wet, especially at first. I want to soak up my pad a little bit. You don't want to be buffing dry, like you're just trying to take it off. You want to have this in the pad, buffing it. You don't want to just be knocking product off. Get this where everybody can see it a little bit. That's looking pretty good. It's actually coming out pretty quick. Quicker than I thought it would. 3000 grit just helps so much. The first thing we got to do is get the lens assembly in. So you want that thing to pop in really just like that, but sometimes you're going to get it and it's just not fitting. You will have to shave that edge down to get them fit all those housings a little differently. Once you get it in there, tape that thing in. You don't want it moving around. Try not to have anything showing, because once you do this, we're not coming back in there. Just kind of hold it in place. That's all we're looking for. If you've got your bracket that goes on the back of your bent coin release, take the bolt out. Do not leave the bolt in right now, or you're just going to fight yourself. Take that little stud, and that's the adjustment to go down onto the coin mech. Take that out, and we'll install that later. The next step, look at your spring on here, and I probably jumped the gun on this, but bend it a little bit so whenever you pop that in there, you need it to just kind of hang there, but you don't want it to fall out all the time. So you're going to see a little tab right there. That is where this little piece hooks into. So that spring is going to come up. It's actually going to look just like that. So that's going to hook in there just like so. And what I do at this point, if you want to just kind of hang it in there, about like that, we're going to tape this piece right now. And sometimes you can bend that little clamp just a little bit tighter so it stays on there pretty good. So now we got this hanging on the inside just like that. We're going to take our plate, and the plate's going to go on right over the top. And this piece here is going to be sitting on there just like that. So now we've got our piece laying right there. Take and just lay everything on top of that, just like that. So right now our glass, it's not going to go anywhere. You can push on it, it's not going anywhere. This here does not have the screw put in it. So we're going to try to hang on to all this in one shot. So we're going to turn this over, hang on to everything really good. As you can see, glass is in. So you will have a screw that comes in the back here. Right there, you see the holes lining up. Make sure it's got that little lock ring on there, because vibration, that will come apart and you'll be doing this again. Take a little bit of fluid film and give it a little bit of a shot. Not much. I just want that thing to be able to slide really nicely. Now put that screw in there all the way. You're going to see a cap like that, and you're going to see a threaded screw like that. I'm reusing the old ones just because going into pot metal, I want to use the exact same ones. If you lose yours, be cautious what you buy and what you put in there. We're just going to kind of get it somewhat snug. Now we're going to put a top one in. So when you do your top one, there's going to be a plate in the top here that goes in. There's a little bit of a rubber gasket, it's a little bumper gasket. So the next one you want to put in is right here. All right, let's take a look at it and see how we did here. Let's get our bezel around the bottle opener. There is two sides to the bezel. You'll see one that's fatter right here and then skinnier. The fatter goes to the top. And if you remember when we sent these off, we tried to bend all those straight. I like using water pump pliers quite a bit. The tape is just for protection on the chrome. So just wrap the tips. I put a couple rounds on there. And if you're not really comfortable, if you want to use a towel like so on that outside edge, I would suggest you do that. And then take and just doop, a little crimp like that. If you can wiggle that right now, you need to go back there and tighten it up. You got your bottle opener. Man, look how, if you remember what we sent off. Speed and Sport, you guys did a great job. Thank you. Been with them for years down there in Houston. Do a great job. Let's go to the bezel. You got a squared off corner and then the rounded corners, just like it's laid out there. Same thing, make sure your tabs are all. This one here, I like to leave hipped just a little bit so I can go in an angle and then drop it in. And really the only two I need to tighten up right now are the two side ones. There it is. It took a little bit. Let's get our lock plate in. Make sure when you put the plate in there, it slides really good in there. Only one way to put it in. And sometimes just taking it in and out will get that feeling a lot better. And then at that point, we want to get this to where it's sliding. If it doesn't slide, let's take a little bit of sandpaper and we're going to sand just a little bit of those edges right now and clean them up. Just get a little 600. So that's feeling really good right now. We're going to do just a little bit of fluid film in the housing area right now. All right, let's see if we can get this sliding better now. Okay, that's feeling really good. So right there we're in. If you want to go ahead and put your lock assembly in, we're using the original lock, so you'll have your lock assembly that'll come in from the outside, like so. Now, being a two-sided key, I always like to have it in the up and down position at this point. Pull your lock piece out of the way, your bar. You will then put your lock nut on. Tighten that up just a little bit, not much. Your bar in there next. Lock tab right there. Then your lock washer, and then your lock nut. Now if you want to check yourself, see how things feel at this point. So it should go up. You're in the lock position, key comes out. If you're in the opening position, like that, key shouldn't come out. It stays locked in. So when you're in the lock position, take the key, go away with it. Hit it with a little bit of your fluid film, or whatever you got. All right, lock is in. Looks good. Let's move over to the machine. So if you haven't tapped your threads yet, check your thread, but should be a 1032. Make sure your threads are right. If you never tapped a thread, a little tap looks just like that. Okay, after you got the tapping all done, get your hinge kind of set up to where you can get access to that first screw. Get your hinge somewhat lined up. Don't go fast. You do not want to drop this door right now. And like that. Let's get the coin mech and let's get it mounted. This is the original, I mean, look at that thing. Original coin mech. I used compound, only used compound on that anodized, and it cleaned it up pretty nicely. I have buffed out the front face. It may happen. I wanted to keep that original decal because that was original with the machine. So it just depends. Sometimes I keep that original stuff on there, and this may be one of those pieces. But we'll go ahead and get the coin mech installed. You'll need to release and get the rejector part out. So I talked about the little heater elements that come through here. This is a prime example. As you can see, this one here did have some heat in it at one time, and it got hot. It got really hot. I may take a little bit of etch primer to this tonight. I'm going to go ahead and get it mounted so you can see how to put it in. But if you got a spot like that that's burned through all the anodized, take a little bit of etch primer if you have to tape this off, and at least get that covered up. But not bad for an all original machine. Very, very nice. So you'll have three pieces to mount here. Yeah, that's looking good. One down below. Coin mech is in. That's how quick that goes. Pop the rejector in there right quick. Just like that. We're going to get the camera a little bit closer so you can kind of watch this in a little bit of detail, so you can see exactly what it looked like when we got it back from the chrome shop. Make sure you take these apart before you send them there. Yes, early days, I sent the whole thing in, and it gives you a lot of trouble. That sometimes that chrome gets down in there and you can't get your handle to work. It's hard to get them apart then, so make sure the only two pieces that go to the chrome shop is the crank handle and the backing plate. That's it, nothing else. I have buffed this out. If you get chrome on that, you're going to be taking it off. It will not go in the housing. Matter of fact, on this one, without lubrication, and I use fluid film on this, this one fits so extremely nice. First thing you're going to do is put this pin in, just like that. I have put some fluid film already in there, and it's going to pop in just like that. Second step, get your spring, and you'll have a little bumper. Make sure that bumper gets in there. Sometimes that gets forgotten. Put that bumper in there just like so. Put your spring in. I usually just stick that bottom in. Make sure you got your eye protection on. This can pop out on you. You can do it by hand or use a screwdriver, but get that down in there just like so. Maybe just a little bit of lubrication in that area, just a hit. About that much. It doesn't take much. You will have your pin out, and obviously when it popped out of there, you're going to go, okay, I see two different edges on that thing. You see a tapered going down, and then you see kind of almost a straight edge here. That straight edge is what you want. When you're hitting this crank handle to go down, you want that to lock in on that solid piece. So when you go the other way, you got the cutaway. When you pull it back to break it loose to open the door, you want that in the opposite direction. So here's the trick part. Everybody's wondering, okay, how do you do it? So here we go. Our taper is up. I'm going to put the one piece in at the very bottom, and I'm going to put the top piece in at an angle. So right now, I've just got it tucked in there just a little bit. You can see it tucked in. Tucked in, I'm going to push down on the top side here. So right now, I'm going to give it just a little bit of a tap. And tap this down now. And all the way in. And we're in. Solid, if you can see that on camera. It is the best detail I can get you here. Solid is locked in, taper is to the up. We will go ahead and give it a spray here before we put our cover plate on. Put the cover plate on. And then down. Everything on this handle has been tight. Super tight. Unbelievable. I don't want to hit on that chrome too much. If you do have to tap this back side, use a little bit of tape on there first. That'll protect your chrome. There it goes. You may have a little bit of oil running out for a few days or maybe even a week. Depends on how much you put in there. But we're back together there. We'll go over and do a little test run on the machine. We'll just kind of get it locked in. That's good. And then back, and then boom, right where you want it locked in at, right there. Should be able to pop it. Man, I tell you what, barely have to bump it, it unlocks. That's the way it's supposed to feel right there. So that's all looking good. Let's go get the lock bar all adjusted now. If you marked these, I tried not to take any of the original spacers out. Tried to keep it just like it was at the factory, or when we last took it apart. And when you do this one, look down through your cap catcher And I can tell you it needs to go down just a little bit. And we're locked in, keys out, both locks are on. So if you look down through the little cap catcher slot, you will see your mechanism, how the lock mechanism. So a couple little cheats there. Leave your tab off there for your correct change. And since we're at that point, we're going to open it up and let's get it mounted now. This is another one of the original decals. I cleaned up the bar that's on it, so we're going to reuse it. So once that's on there, that will block your view when the door is shut, so leave this off. That way you can get into see where that lock mechanism, see how it's working. 2 screws hold on. You've got that you're mounting up here on the back. So remember, if your machine does not have a little nickel slot on it, this one does not. It does not have change involved, so there's usually an arm that comes up through here that would go into here, that so if it has nickels in the slot, this little arm would push this up, and it says, it just leaves it blank. That means you can put money in it and give you change. But in this case, this has not the nickel slot on it. It's just a regular coin mech without a changer. It does not have a changer. So when you shut the door, make sure that window says use correct change only. So if they put a quarter in there, they might get their pop, but they're not going to get any change. All right, next thing, we've got the guard, the lockout plate, I would call it, is next. And it's going to go on just like this. Now if you want to leave that loose until we get the crank, before we tighten that down, we're going to put our chute on there. And before you do that, there was an electrical line that come through there. We're going to put the insert that was in there back in there, and it's just going to lock in just like that. We will get the chute put back on there, and we'll test drive this right quick. Make sure our dime drops in the slot properly, and it has. We will put the crank handle assembly on. So, all right, for getting ready to put your crank handle assembly on, that pin's going to go down through there just like so. We've got it in the down position right now. Let me get it locked in. Right there. We'll push the pin all the way down. Okay. That's where we want it, right there. Check your handle, see if you can go back. You should be able to go backwards, and then pull it forward. Should lock in right there. The coin cup, that will go in right there. The cap catcher. These are all original with the machine. Put our 2 cotter pins in on the lock rail. Locking bar, I should say. Alright, that gets everything locked in, our cap catcher in there. Get this folded back. Let's tighten those screws down now on our lock rings here. There we go. That looks good. Very nice. Pull the handle back. We are getting there. Wow. Hey, thanks for viewing. Might have been a little bit long, but I wanted to give you some detail. Some of those areas just a little bit questionable on how stuff goes back together, but It's coming along really good. We're coming in some of the last videos, so thanks for viewing. Hit that subscribe button, give me the thumbs up, throw some comments in there. But I appreciate you guys supporting the channel, and we'll catch you on the next one.